Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another FIFA 21 video where today we're going to be checking out this 3-5-2 formation. Now obviously it is team of the year at the moment and maybe not a lot of people are playing too many games. Maybe a lot of people are grinding the menus, myself included. As you can see, I'm fortunate enough that I've packed a team of the year Kimmich, as you guys might know, the other day. And I actually packed this team of the year Virgil van Dijk last night. Now I've still got over 250 packs still to go, so hopefully we can maybe add one more. I'm kind of hoping for Alphonso Davies to kind of complete this team, but the team is in a little bit of a mess at the minute. Obviously, you know, trying to open all those packs, so it maybe doesn't look the best at the moment, but it will hopefully change post team of the year. So the 3-5-2 is a formation that's quite popular amongst the three backs. It's probably the most popular three back formation, and it's a formation that I do get recommended to try out. It's not a formation I've had a huge amount of kind of time with. I've had a few runs in with it in draft and whatnot, so I wanted to give it a little bit of a decent go and just kind of see how I like it, if I think it's a good formation or not. But before we do get into the tactics, make sure you join our Discord down below in the description. It is super helpful. Lots of members, lots of people getting super active in there. And if you guys would like to see us open these packs, you know, open packs going forwards and stream and whatnot, make sure you follow us on Twitch. I think when streaming, I would like to integrate it as part of the channel. You know, if you guys love it, we'll do more of it. If you guys don't like it, then we won't do it. So if you do want to, you know, if you do want to see some streams, make sure you follow us on Twitch, and maybe we'll get some streams going. Maybe around team of the season, we'll start streaming some packs and we'll see how it goes from there. But going into our custom tactics. Now the 3-5-2 is a good formation. I can see why a lot of people like it. It's got two holding midfielders, which for me, I think is super important in this game. I think if you've got holding midfielders, you're going to be really difficult to break down. It's got a central cam, which I think is for me, the most important position in the game this year. If you've got a central cam, can link between the midfielders and the attackers, two strikers, which I think for me personally, I think the two striker formations, you know, I think two strikers is the best way to play this year. I think in previous years, wingers has been really effective, but I think this year, two striker formations are the best. I think having the two strikers in the central cam. So I can see why people like this formation, but I can see why some people avoid this formation. Obviously, no fullbacks means your opponent can just attack down the wing. And it's different to a 5-back, because in a 5-back, like for me, I play the 5-2-1-2 quite a lot at the minute. It's my kind of my favorite formation at the moment, and I have my fullbacks on join the attack, so my fullbacks are out of position there. But I don't find it to be much of an issue, because those fullbacks are fullbacks. You know, when they do get back into defensive shape, they're you know, it creates a back five. Whereas in here, they only go so far as being left and right midfielders, so it still kind of leaves the wings open. So I can see both perspectives why people like and dislike this formation. Now, in terms of tactics, defensive style, I stayed on balanced. I did give a couple of tries with pressure on heavy touch, because I thought maybe a press would work in this formation. But I found that just the wings, you know, the lack of fullbacks, for me, just made the press kind of a non-starter, really. You know, every time I would press, I would get it. I think, man, I'm going to get the ball. And then if you're playing like a good level opponent, he'll just sort of ping the ball out to one of his wingers, because you don't have anybody to mark them. Just pings them out to his wingers, and then he's just open, and he kind of goes over the top of the press. So I didn't find press was very effective. I just found that balance was the best way to play. In terms of defensive width, I kind of played on around about 6. Just wanted to kind of make sure those wide midfielders did their best to kind of like stay wide and deal with the wingers, and maybe if my opponents had overlapping fullbacks, did the best to deal with that. Defensive depth, I went for about 5. Normally, I like to play on 6 or 7, but I think because we have a lack of fullbacks, I think I just want to give myself an extra 5-10 yards in the defensive sort of line, and for it to not be as high. I think when you play a high line, you can get away with it when you're playing a back 5 or a back 4. But I think when you're playing a back 3 and you don't have the fullbacks and you're already a little bit exposed defensively, I think you want to maybe play a little bit. I wouldn't recommend anything lower than 4, but I think 4 or 5 is a good place to play. I played on 5 and I found it was pretty effective for me. In terms of offensive style, fast build-up was quite good in this formation. It did work very, very well. I still like long ball, probably is the better option. I just think maybe for me, I'm just so used to using long ball that I just think it's better than everything else. Maybe I have a bit of like a bias to long ball, but I just found that it was the best way to play. But fast build up, I did give 3 or 4 games to, and it was really good. It works in this formation. It works in formations when you have like 2 CDMs, a cam, 2 strikers. So like a 4-1-2-1-2 narrow, it works really, really well. Those kind of really tight formations, you know, a 4-2-3-1 narrow is really good as well. because if you're someone who likes to attack a lot down the middle, fast build-up works up best when you can play lots of quick, short, sharp passes, and you can in this formation. You know, obviously it does have those wide players who it's good to have those wide players because you kind of get them, you know, involved in the attacking game, just stretching the game a little bit. But fast build-up works really well. It does mean that you were open to the counter, and I was open to the counter, and people knew I was playing a back three, so they would just attack down the wings. So it did, that is something to bear in mind. But fast build-up was quite effective for this formation. I'm going to be honest, it's not something I really like to use a whole bunch fast build-up, but in this formation it worked very, very well. Offensive width, again, I like to go for around about 6. I do want to keep those wingers and keep them wide. You know, I kind of want them to almost play like wing backs rather than left and right midfielders. You know, I don't want them to play like wingers, but I don't want them to play like left and right backs and have them on stay back or anything like that. I kind of want them to play as wing backs. I want them to get up and down the pitch, do offensive and defensive. And because we have quite a few players in the in the middle of the pitch already, I do want to keep those wide players wide, stretch the pitch, kind of open up gaps and spaces for our kind of midfielders to really run the midfield. And then the rest, I like to keep kind of on standard. If you don't like you having your corners on 3, you can just knock it back to 1 if you don't want to get countered. For me, I kind of mix up crossing the ball and going short, so I kind of keep it on 3. In terms of instructions, I have the whole of the centre-backs all, of course, on stay back while attacking and conservative. And I think you want your fastest centre-backs on the outside. So for me, I have Marquinhos on the left and have Joe Gomez on the right. I have Virgil van Dijk, sorry, on the right. Now, if you're someone who has like fullbacks, you know, playing someone like Tavernier as like a right centre-back would be great. Obviously, we're playing Tavernier in that right mid spot, but having like fast fullbacks at centre back is so effective in this game. So if you could put Tavernier there, for example, or you know, Kleiber or someone like that, you know, because then if your opponent has the space in the fullback position, you have a fullback at centre back, so he can get out, he can go out there, and he won't be like, you know, a fish out of water. He'll be able to kind of deal with that. So you know, if you can do that, go for it. But if not, have your fastest sort of centre backs on the outside. We have Kimmich and Ballack. I like to have these guys on cut passing lanes, cover centre, and stay back while attacking. I want these guys to play as, you know, defensive midfielders because we're going to have the left and right midfielders join the attack. So these guys just patrolling in front of the 3 centre backs was super effective. You know, some people might like to use cover wing because the wingers aren't going to get forwards, but I just think for me cover wing is just like it just does not work. It just doesn't work. I've never found it to be effective. It's never something I've ever used and just will never use. But yeah, that cut passing lanes, stay back while attacking, cover centre works super well. In terms of Rivaldo in the cam spot, I just have him on free roam, but I do have him on get into the box because I do want him to be a goal scoring threat. Your cam arguably is going to score a lot of your goals. Maybe not all of your goals, but he should be one of your top scorers, you know, so you do want him getting into the box. I just like them on free roam. I like them to drift, and that's really important because when we say we want the wingers to stay wide and really like the aim of them to stay wide is so that you can pull apart your opponent's defenders and he can drag a midfielder out to come and get the ball off. Like, let's say Tavernier's out on the right. You know, if he has to pull one of his midfielders out, Rivaldo's on free roam. He's going to pick up those pockets of space, and then it's just going to make him panic and potentially pull out more defenders and more players. And then that's just going to allow, you know, your strikers and that to make great runs in behind. And then if you can find the pass, you know, you can then potentially score some goals. So free roam is just a no-brainer for me. In terms of those wingers, I like to have them just on get in behind. I do like to have them on come back on defense because I do want them to kind of, when you are in a defensive shape, they're not going to drop in and play as like left and right backs. They're going to drop into that wing back position, and that's what I want. You know, you want them to play as wing backs, not necessarily as, you know, left and right backs, you know, being super defensive. So I want them to kind of drop into that wing back position, and that's what they'll do. In terms of chance creation, I want them to stay on balance because, like I said, I don't want to have them on stay wide because that means they'll stay out there all the time. And I don't want them to stay out there all the time because then they'll just kind of get trapped out there and they can get really kind of just lost out there on the wing. So I just want them on balance because I do want them to sometimes make like inverted runs in, you know, on the inside as well. But primarily I just want them to stay on the wing. So, you know, balance width is the way to go. Getting behind works super well as well. And then the two strikers we have on stay central and get in behind, which are Owen and Ronaldo. The reason why I want these guys on stay central is because those wing backs, they're the ones that are going to be providing the width in this formation. So therefore, the strikers don't need to drift wide. They can stay just in the middle of the pitch, and they can just focus on scoring goals. They don't need to kind of, I don't want Ronaldo out on, on the right wing, for example, because then who's in the middle of the pitch to potentially score the goal? So that's where I want them to be, and that's what I recommend for the 3-5-2 formation. Now, in terms of this formation, I found it to be a decent formation. For me, I'm never super comfortable playing without fullbacks. I know that like the 5-2-1-2 that I play, I have them on get forwards, but that's a little bit different because at least in a defensive shape, they're still wing backs. They still kind of get into that wing back position. And Neymar and Tavernier did a good job. They did get back in position, but it's just not as secure as that, as like a 5-back or something. So I thought this formation was good. Would I say it's absolutely, unbelievable and, mind-blowing? No, I wouldn't put it in that category, but I would definitely say it's a fun formation. It's a formation you can have fun with. If that's what you want to have fun with FIFA, then definitely this formation you'll have a lot of fun with. So I'd recommend it for that. If you want to have fun, definitely go and try this formation out. If maybe you want to like sweat it out and do as well as you can in champs, then this is probably not the formation for you. So there would be my recommendations with the 3-5-2. But that is it for today's video, guys. So if you enjoy, do drop a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you join our Discord if you want to get involved in that. And make sure you follow us on Twitch if you would like to see some streams, maybe in the summer when Team of the Season comes around, where we can rip some packs and you guys can get involved in that as well. But that is all for today, guys. Have an awesome day. I'm out.